Welcome, everybody. My name is Hugh Wagner. I'm the General Secretary of the Grain and General Services Union. That's my day job. And on other days, I'm a member of the Ministers' Advisory Committee with regard to labor legislation in the province, and more specifically, Bill 85. Before going into the substance of why we're here today, I want to introduce Chuck Rudder, who's the President of the Saskatchewan Building Trades Council, Terry Parker, who's the Executive Director of the Saskatchewan Building Trades Council, Tom Graham, the President of CUPE Saskatchewan, and Kelly Miner, who's the Director of Labor Relations for the Saskatchewan Union of Nurses. And all of us here at the front are on the Minister's Advisory Committee, collaborating and working together as we advise and urge government to do some things, and on this occasion we're urging them to go slow. The purpose of the conference today is for us to express publicly and directly to our members, to the public, and to government why we want the government to take a pause, to slow down, and consider the true and full ramifications of Bill 85, which proposes to establish a new Saskatchewan Employment Act. For the past 10 months, my colleagues and I have participated in the Minister of Labor Relations and Workplace Safety's Advisory Committee examining labor legislation in the province. As our news release says, the interaction between the Minister, the employer and community representatives on the Advisory Committee have been frank, they have been informative, practical, and respectful. We have genuinely learned and gained from the process, and the Minister, Mr. Morgan, deserves a lot of credit for facilitating a constructive dialogue that has perhaps been absent in times past from previous reviews of labor legislation. My labor colleagues and I have the highest regard for the Minister, and we're asking him today, as we have previously on February the 11th, to extend the dialogue with regard to Bill 85 so that legislation is not rushed into becoming law before everyone who is affected has a chance to weigh in, assess, and analyze how it affects them. In making this request, it's our sincere belief that we are representing both the substance and the quality of the contributions made by all of those around the table in the Advisory Committee meetings. Needless to say, there have been differences, but they haven't been large differences as both to process and as to the necessity. We all want modern and fair labor laws that reflect the reality of our society and economy. At the same time, we don't want to see laws that weaken existing labor standards, laws that remove people's rights, laws that jeopardize the relative harmony that we have in labor relations in Saskatchewan and the stability that now exists. It's our respectful view that Bill 85 goes far beyond and to more places than considered in the Minister's Advisory Committee deliberations. We were not privy to the substance or the content of Bill 85 until it was introduced in the legislature on December the 5th. And as practitioners of labor relations issues, we've raised serious concerns with regard to both the scope and the substance of Bill 85. We have, as our news release says, we've refrained from commenting publicly until now because we've taken the time since December to carefully assess and analyze the bill and what it intends to do, and perhaps whether there are unintended consequences. And we think there are both of those elements. We're not opposed to review of labor laws. In fact, we support a review of labor laws. This is an ambitious undertaking, Bill 85. In 184 or so pages, it consolidates or intends to consolidate what was previously written in 900 or more pages of legislation. Now, I guess you could argue that simplicity is a virtue and brevity is certainly to be looked for. However, when you look at the more than 250 references to regulations or prescriptions of regulations in the proposed bill, it leaves a lot to be answered. most of the substance of how this is intended to work and how it will affect working people, especially with regard to labor standards and collective bargaining rights and so forth, is yet to be determined. And regulations, as we all know, are a process that happens more often than not behind closed doors, can be changed suddenly, and is not open to the same kind of scrutiny or involvement that legislation tabled in the Assembly is subject to. Now, why now? Well, the spring session of the legislature is upon us, and just around the corner at the beginning of March, and we're asking the minister and the government to slow down. There will be a session from March the 5th or so until May the 15th, and it's our view that that is not enough time to adequately address all of the concerns and to establish legislation and the rules around working and maintaining employment relationships for what arguably is for the next decade or more. So we're saying, sit down with us, let's continue the dialogue, let's work on getting it right, and let's make this the best labor law that it can be for Saskatchewan people. Thank you all for coming, and I think we have some important work to do, and we hope that our friends in the media obviously get out the message for the benefit of all working people that we've got a job here to do, and let's take the time to do it right. Thank you.